Let's make a personalised Christmas decoration using the IQ Designer. I'm over at my Altair 2 and the first thing we're going to do is bring in the shapes. So I'm going to bring in a circle. Then I'm going to size that down to around about 3 inches because we don't want our ornament to be too big. Let's say about that. Then we'll press OK, and then we're going to add a square. We're basically going to add a rectangle to the top of the ornament. I'm going to move that up, and I'm going to squish that down a little bit. Oh, wrong way, and then down again. We're basically just trying to make it look like a Christmas ornament. Once you've got it to the size that you want it, you're going to press OK. And then we want to zoom in using this menu over here. And then zoom in as much as you can so you can see what you are doing. Then we're going to use the eraser. We're going to make it small enough. And then we are going to erase these lines here. And then when you want to move the menu, you just click on that and you move it. And then you can zoom back out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save that. And then we'll go next. And I want to make sure that this is a running stitch. I'm going to change the colour, press OK. Save it again and let's oversave. Preview. And then put that into memory because this is now in the embroidery side of things. So you want to save it into IQ as well as the embroidery. Next thing we want to do is go back into IQ Designer and we're going to open that design. I'm going to ignore this one, delete, and choose this pink one and set. And then what I want to do is go to next. I'm going to change this to a satin stitch, change the colour, press OK. Then I'm going to make this bigger. Anything that we want to do with the stitches on this design, we have to do it in IQ Designer. Then I'm going to press set. I am going to save it into the machine's memory. We're going to preview it. And then we're going to save this into the memory of the embroidery section. So then I'm going to press home. Press on embroidery, and then when we open this up, we're going to have the two parts. So we have the running stitch one that we can use for our placement stitch as well as our tack down stitch, and we have our other one that we can use just for our satin stitch. So we're going to select this one, set, and we're going to bring it into the machine. And then what I want to do is add another one because that's the placement stitch, remember, and we want to add this one because this is a tack down stitch, change the colour, and then we have two on our screen. From here we can zoom in if we need to, just to make it bigger there. And then this is where we can start adding our other design features onto our ornament. So we can add, and we can go into here, and we can select any of these different stitches here. I'm just going to press this one maybe and then set. There we go. Not quite sure what colours I'm going to do just yet. I'll do that towards the end. So we're going to click add. We're going to go in here and we're going to set our buttonhole. I'm going to go right down to the smallest, this XS one, and set. And then I can move that, move and then up. We can actually make that a little bit bigger, it seems. So I've just made that a little bit bigger and then okay. From here, I'm going to add some text. So I am going to go add text and I'm going to pick whichever font I want. Here we go. And I'm going to write Cassie. I'm going to do that and set, and then I can change the size on this screen also. So let's make it a bit bigger. Let's make it about that, and then okay. And then we want to add our tack down stitch again. Here we go, set. And then we want to add our satin stitch. Now this is where you can play with the colours, so you can have the colours whatever you want them to be. So now I'm going to show you how to stitch this out. I'm going to click on embroidery. A 4x4 hoop is big enough for this design. So I'm going to cut a piece of wash away stabilizer, and then we're going to hoop this wash away stabilizer for our ornament. You're going to need some felt, one for the back and one for the front. If it's not allowing you to use a 4x4 frame with this particular design, what you want to do is move it all to the center using that button and press OK. Now, if it's moving individual parts, you may have to go into here and just group everything together. So you just set it all and then OK. And then you just want to make sure that it's in the center, and then once that's done you should be able to then do it in the hoop. For some reason when I grouped it, it wants to bring in this design first, and we don't want to do that. And sometimes we do need to jump through different hoops in order to get to where we want to be. I don't like showing you everything exactly right, because sometimes things happen. So this is how we go around this. So we're going to press on this plus and minus, and this is where we can select what we want to stitch out first. So basically I'm going to come to that first stitch out and I'm going to let that stitch out. I like to show workarounds because we don't live in a perfect world and things do end up going awry. So you need to know how to fix them. This is our first stitch, and that is the position stitch for our ball. So I am going to now put the felt onto this. So I'm going to make sure that then my next stitch is going to be the same stitch as what we've just done. And this is what I'm using for my tack down stitch. I'm just floating the felt down. And if I showed you everything working perfectly all the time, you'll never know how to change any errors that actually happen when we are doing our embroidery. I like to use these scissors. It helps me to get right in there, and I'm going to cut away the felt as close to the stitches without cutting through them. And also you don't want to cut through the stabilizer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So that's what it looks like once you tear away that excess of that felt. We don't want to stitch out this buttonhole just yet either, so I'm just going to go through. I'm going to write out my name. Once this part is finished, I want to take it back to that decorative stitch that's going around my name here, which is this one. For this next part, make sure that you've got your thread in that you want your buttonhole to be and your satin stitch to be. I don't really need to do a placement stitch for this next part. I am just going to get my piece of felt. If you do have any loose threads here, I would just take them off. So then I'm going to put my next piece of felt over the top on the back side of the hoop. Because this is on the back of the hoop, you have to stick it down. So I'm just going to use some masking tape here and I'm going to stick it all the way down. It's back on the frame and we're going to select a running stitch and have that stitch all the way around, securing that back section to the front. Take off the machine and once again you are going to cut the excess of the felt off. Scroll through and find your buttonhole. And then finally you're going to find that last part, which is the satin stitch. So we're going to go ahead and embroider that out. Stitching this design out takes 6 minutes. So in all, you've probably got a Christmas ornament in about 20 minutes once you've designed it. Once complete, take it out of the hoop. Then you're going to cut around the ornament just a little bit. Because remember, this is a wash away stabilizer that we've used. Using a seam ripper, just be very careful. You're just going to open up where this buttonhole is. Hope you've enjoyed watching my tutorial. Don't forget to leave me a comment down below and subscribe so you don't miss my tutorial next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye now.